All right. Our next experiment in our safety unit that we conducted was called the baking soda cannon. And if you recall, what we did was we took a test tube and we put a packet of toilet paper with, first we poured in the test tube, I'm sorry, first we poured in the test tube some vinegar. Then we took a packet of toilet paper with baking soda in it. And we put that into the test tube. Then we put a stopper on the top of the test tube, and we um, had our safety goggles on, of course, and we shook the bottle up, the test tube up, pointing it at the ceiling. And when the vinegar and the baking soda combined, they created a gas called carbon dioxide, which pushed up and pushed the stopper off of the test tube. So what did we learn from this experiment? We learned that when you combined baking soda and vinegar and mix them, they create carbon dioxide, a gas. And those were the little bubbles that we saw in the test tube, and then later in the bowl when we poured the vinegar on top of the baking soda. And we also talked about the fact that that gas, we created so much gas that there was not enough room in the test tube. And they just kept pushing those gas bubbles, and everything kept pushing up against the stopper. And that's what caused the stopper to go flying off of the test tube. We also learned we should never combine chemicals together unless we have been given a specific recipe for them. This includes cooking in the kitchen, because we talked about the fact that baking soda and vinegar we find in the kitchen. Those are common household items. And we don't want to combine things that we are not sure of what that reaction is, because it could be dangerous. Which leads us to our next point of things that we talked about. You never shake a bottle of cleaning fluid or any bottle with unknown chemicals, because we don't know if that shaking is going to mix up the chemicals that are in that bottle and possibly cause them to create a chemical reaction like the baking soda and the vinegar. Okay, so we're always very safe. We also discussed about the fact that we have to read and look at the labels on all of the cleaning fluid products that we have. There's usually a caution label that tells us how to handle those products. We learned also that if you have a bottle with a stopper on it and you have to shake it, never look at the stopper directly, because again, you don't know what kind of a reaction the chemicals in the bottle are going to create. And if you were looking at that stopper, had it facing your face, just like in our experiment, if you had done that, it could put your eye out. And that's why we always want to make sure we wear our safety goggles when we are working with chemicals. Which brings us to our last point that we discussed in this experiment. Always wear your safety glasses when you are working with chemicals. So this is the end of the information about our second experiment in our safety unit, the baking soda cannon, where we talked about working with chemicals and wearing our goggles.